All right. Welcome back to Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Anime Review, Episode 45. We're here reviewing the opening episode of Season 5 of the series. Yes, Season 5. Yes, this does eventually make it the very first anime based upon a light novel to have 5 seasons I've seen. And you're like, that's interesting. Because it's 100% completely true. Of course, this particular season is known as the Futurity Goddess arc. That's what the season is going to be covering. Yes. Basically, it's supposed to be adapting episode, like basically books 16, 18, but like kind of weird. Alright. So yeah, and here's kind of the thing when it comes to this one. Like, this episode, like, apparently was supposed to premiere tomorrow. Actually, supposed to premiere this coming Saturday. But for some reason, High Dive moved up the release date for this thing. I don't know why High Dive did for. As a matter of fact, this is my second series reviewing on High Dive, like on a regular basis, basically my review schedule. I'm also reviewing Chain Soldier, but it's only going to be like this for about a couple more weeks, because Chain Soldier is about to wrap up. So, this episode is called Sire. And this adapts basically a couple of the interludes from book 15 of the series. Yes. The interludes being they adapted Interlude Elva Unrest, the entirety of that one, and most of Interlude Cinderella Dream of Happiness. Basically, the whole things with those two is that was adapted for the opening bit of this episode. I'm kind of surprised they did this, where supposedly we're like, I think some people assumed they might skip book 15 because it's not plot driven, it's slice of life, it's basically an anthology, but here you go. There's proof right there. Okay, so the opening scene of the episode is basically Hestia telling Lily that she's been promoted to level 2. And she's not believing it, and eventually she's like so excited. And also, Hestia, I think her name is the Renair, she's also promoted to level 2 along with Hikaru, the samurai woman who's part of the group. Actually, she was not promoted here. She and Welf were not promoted despite all the trial they went through. And apparently Bell does not receive promotions yet. Currently, as of book 18, he's at level 5 right now. Yeah, he's at level 5. The anime, he's still at this point level 4. And then we cut to the Mamma Mia Tavern. By the way, the opening scene, that's all from that interlude. Yes, it is adapting roughly 4 pages. Because after that, it all focuses on Lily afterwards, which is interesting to say the least. The fact that they actually did this. Yeah, I guess some people were probably a little bit surprised that they adapted this particular thing. It's only a few pages. And then the very next scene is, well, I think, actually the next thing comes a little bit later. The opening scene, basically, the opening of this very book, that happens after this very next scene here. Where basically they're all celebrating, basically, Lily's promotion, along with Haruchio, and apparently also Daphne Cassandra got promoted too. And of course, there's also a thing with basically Ryu, where she's apparently avoiding Belle the whole scene. And then Belle went to go talk to her a little bit later when she's outside, take out the trash. Basically, the trash is simply put just dumping the waste into like this one bin area outside, and she and Belle have a conversation, and we see also Sire following them. The whole thing of Sire following that was completely made up for the end because there's no mention of her following them in the book. And they have their talk, and that whole scene is also from book 15, The All of Unrest. They don't adapt the very next thing, which basically tells more about her. I'm actually quite surprised it is. And then, like, the very next day after, Belle was talking to Rue after they kind of cooled down. And then, basically, Sire asks Rue if she can has her permission to ask Belle on a date to the Kaz Festival, because basically we're about the Kaz Festival here. And she's like, do whatever we want. And basically, here's the thing. It's from this very scene that they both have feelings for Belle, which is definitely true to the book. And, by the way, in case you're curious, how far in this book do they adapt for? Yes. So, they adapted the 2 prologues, Chapter 1, and basically the first 3 pages of Chapter 2. That's how far they adapted for just 1 episode. They're like, okay, so, they're like, do we want? Yeah, the whole scene of basically you have Sire and Rue talking, that's all from the 2 prologues. Because 2 prologues lead right into each other. And then immediately after this, we have this very tall woman show up with silver hair, who was later identified as Thorn, from the Freya Familia, who is there to drop up a letter for Belle. And of course, behind Belle is basically his whole familia, exception of Hestia. We're like, oh, of course, I think it's a love letter. And of course, from Sire asking him on a date. And of course, Hestia is not very happy about this. Of course, she suspects Cassandra of possibly being the one who sent this. Or Azov, who's actually... By the way, Azov Wilderness is actually not in book 16. Not here. She's completely up. She's there in book 17 as a minor role in the book. She is there. 18, she doesn't play a role at all. No, she doesn't. But basically, these 3 books don't feature her very much at all. If they do, like 16, it's like I think maybe it was like 1 minor appearance by her. Yeah, it's like after that opening story, after like basically the arc they adapted for season 3, which is books like 9 to 11. It's like they have the character take a backseat and they have more focus on her spin-off stuff. That's kind of what she's doing there. So, and the whole thing with Cassandra, that was revealed in book 12 that she's got a thing for Belle that hasn't gone anywhere at all. Oh, and also in the book, here's something to note though. Since basically all the books at this point in time, the first 16 books that have been released, this is all taking place in a period of 6 months. 6 months. 16 books in 6 months. You would think that is impossible. It is written in this very book that it's been 6 months since Belle arrived in Oriorto. Yes, 6 months. They'll bring up the anime because they probably didn't think it was necessary. So, and then we have, and basically she kind of agreed to it, and of course, has to bring this interesting little fact. She has never met this woman. She's never seen her at Mamma Mia's. Like, she's met Rue before, but she's never met Sire. So, it's kind of implied that they do kind of agree with this. And the whole thing with Horn is that she's also referred to as Nameless because she doesn't have a nickname. Because apparently Freya doesn't allow her to get a nickname for some reason, despite she's a very high-ranking individual, high-ranking adventurer. And she's Freya's personal assistant. Yes. So then, right after this scene, then we have more of the Freya Familia basically show up in this episode. Which, by the way, Otter is the only one who's actually appeared prior to this very scene. Everybody else here is completely new. Which, we have a set of triplets. Yes. Believe it or not, a set of triplets. So we have Otter, of course. who hasn't, like, throughout the whole series, there's even speculated of the woman who was part of the Ista Familia for his Amazon. I expect that she may have, because she's also got a thing for him too. And everybody knows the fact that Hesse's got a thing for Belle, like, ever since you first met him. But I can't exactly represent feelings because she's a goddess. Because the whole thing of living a long time. Mm-hmm. So it's basically Alfred, Devlin, Borgin, basically these triplets. Okay, these three technically appeared in the anime in the second episode of season 2, but they didn't do very much in this very episode. And there's also Hargar and Renner and Elf. And here's the thing. He is a dark elf. They also have Helden Salden, who's basically been there since like episode 9. It's like these characters haven't been seen doing very much in this episode prior to this one. So basically, the call of honor to reveal that they also have one more person. I think his name's Alan Formel, who is a cat person. Yes. So basically, Asuka is meaning informed that Sire they refer to her as their patron, despite the fact that she's actually Freya. I wonder if that was mixed up on High Dives on Sentinel Works Art, because in the book, basically, she's just someone who's part of the group. I think they refer to her as someone who they support, but she's not their Patreon. Their Patreon is Freya. That may have been mistranslation on part of Sentinel Works for that. So Alan leaves, and of course, basically, he's like, yeah, he's going to protect the girl. And then right after this, two very interesting scenes happen. Belle is going to talk to Sire about this date. When then, completely out of nowhere, he then just randomly attacks him in the episode. Like, launches him away, all these attacks. And it's like, he's like, such a disappointment. And then basically he takes him away. And then the episode has a really cool ending where you have Sire talking to Freya. I tried looking up where this is. This may have been anime original, but because I didn't see this in the manga, the light novels. But really cool episode. Now, the ending sequence is interesting. The ending sequence is Freya putting on this very attire. We see her putting on her leggings that she's got. Basically, her whole outfit that she wears, you see her in the anime. And this credit sequence is basically her putting it on. And the sequence ends with her arriving in Aurora. This may be when she first arrived. I'm not sure. It is interesting, though. We focus on her for this ending, given the fact the whole arc is about her. And next episode is called Master. That's next week's episode. But good episode. Definitely look forward to next episode to air next week. Okay, so that's pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not hit the dislike button. I'm just going to go ahead and do my comic corner. You'll also be curious, where's your Metal Heroes review? At this point, probably won't have next happen until tomorrow. Okay? But see you next video. Bye.